The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
Welcome back to Cherry Picking, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Of course, it is the last Cherry Picking before Christmas, before Father Christmas turns up. And of course, we've got the main man next to me, Mr. Matthew Harrison. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, all good. Feeling festive. Got me tree up. Got me Christmas jumper on. So, yeah, happy days.
I'm letting the bloody team down, aren't I? I've got a Hollister jumper on, which, to be honest, I've worn for quite a few shows, to be honest. Everybody's going to think that I don't actually bloody wash. I do wash it. It's just, it's one of those soft ones inside. So, yeah, I just like the feel of it. It's a bit weird. But also, we have got a returning guest, and you'll recognise him. Hello, Liam. How you doing, mate?
Good, thanks.
Good,
Excellent.
good. Looking forward to Christmas?
Yeah.
Excellent stuff, mate. Excellent stuff. Well, I tell you what, let's get stuck into what is coming.
Well, aren't we doing dental on the banks?
Oh, yes, we are doing dental on the banks. I tell you what, good shout. Good shout. So here's a little bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks.
Find out what they can do for you. Visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk.
Yeah. I'll tell you what,
Shabam.
Perfectionist. Yes. You sound like a receptionist.
Yes.
There we are, mate. There
Lovely.
we are. Lovely.
Was it voice for radio? No. Face for radio, is that what they say?
Yeah, face for radio. Voice for
I don't know. I'll tell you what, Craig. Why don't you just tell us what's happening today?
I'll tell you what, that's a good shout, Matt. Very, very good shout. So, of course, we've got an Xmas Guess the Cherry. Now, it's going to be a little bit different, but, I'm not going to give too much away because Matt's going to talk you through how this works. We're going to be talking about the West Ham game. And, of course, wow, what a stunner from NSU now. We're going to be looking at the festive fixtures against, of course, the Red Devils, the Eagles, the Cottagers, and then finishing off with the Toffees. Can the Cherries make Europe? Well, we shall be discussing that as well during this show. We're also going to be talking about the Kyoto Young Guns that are training at Dean Court at the moment. We're also going to be talking about Iriola's Cherries. The Cherries are on high alert as a certain city are linked. They can piss off for what I think. We have a look at Jebbison's loan deal at Watford. That's going to be a very interesting conversation. And of course, seeing as this is the last cherry picking of 2024, I think we better have a little look back at it and see how good a year it is. There's no spoilers in that, is there really?
Or
No
has
spoilers.
been.
Or has been, yes. Has been. Right, I'll tell you what. Let's get stuck into something. Let's go. You're going to have to talk me through Guess the Cherry because it has changed this week, and we're going to find out exactly how it has changed.
Well, yes, it has changed. So it's not a former player. It's a current bunch. And I'll bring it up for you all now. So this week's Guess the Cherry then is a slightly different one, as we've just said. As you can see, it's a case of guess who's hiding behind Santa's hat and beard. So it's slightly different this week than normal, but you can obviously see that they're probably current members of the squad and maybe somebody who works in the background. But that's all the clues that we're going to give for now. But yeah, that's this week's Christmas Guess the Cherry. Liam, have you got any ideas, mate, without saying who, but have you got any ideas how many you can name there?
I think 3.
3. Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay. So Liam can name 3. Craig, what do you reckon?
Oh, I would say 3 as well.
3.
Yeah, I've got an idea of the 4th, but
Well, that's
yeah,
who it is. That's this week's Guess the Cherry with a Christmas feel.
there we are.
And yeah, we'll obviously give everybody the results at the end of the show.
I'm quite pleased you did it behind Santa's hat and beard rather than Santa's sack.
Where's that PG rating?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I tell you what, let's go on to yesterday's game. As you probably have seen, there is a video up about it, me going on about it, and we'll come back to that. But let's talk about the West Ham match. And Udall deals a hammer blow. It is hammer time. So, hammer time. Can't touch this. Do. Can't touch this. I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't give up the day job.
I did once have a pair of trousers that was like MC Hammer trousers, and literally they just kind of hung out from your legs and, drooped down. Honestly, they're the funniest things that you ever saw. I thought they were good. I thought they were good until my mum turned around and said, "What the hell are those that you've got on?" So yeah, there we are. So Bournemouth substitute NSU now curled home a brilliant free kick to deny West Ham victory in a dramatic Premier League meeting that had a twist in the tale. West Ham thought that they were about to enjoy a 10th victory in 11 Monday night league games when Lucas Paqueta converted an 87th minute penalty. But Bournemouth, who had been denied on 5 separate occasions by Hammers keeper Lucas Fabianski in the second half alone, refused to let their heads drop. Given the opportunity to go for goal, from 30 yards as the seconds ticked down. Unal found the top corner with a magnificent effort. The home side surged forward, looking for a winner, but despite their pressure and a frenzied atmosphere in the Vitality Stadium, the winner and fourth successive Premier League win would not come. The point was enough for Andoni Iraola's men to climb above Aston Villa into the top six. Top six in the Premier League, bloody hell. West Ham remain in 14th, having avoided defeat for 2 league games in a row for only the 3rd time this season. There we go. The point for West Ham should give Julian Lopetegui a bit more breathing space, following on from last week's victory over Wolves, although he will feel his side should have held on for the win, having taken the lead so late. Yet Iraola also has cause to grumble. Bournemouth are an excellent team, but struggle to turn their superiority into goals. Even in victory over Tottenham in their previous home game, the feeling was the margin of the win should have been greater than a single goal on this occasion. They had an incredible 29 shots, but it still wasn't enough for all 3 points. Although they hit the post early through Anton Semenyo, it was the end of the opening period when Bournemouth should have capitalised, only for Fabianski to deny Dongo Watara at the far post. Fabianski getting in the way became a recurring theme for Bournemouth in the second half. Justin Kluivert, Semenyo, Ryan Christie and Evan Nielsen were all denied by the veteran former Poland international. Poland? I'm losing my words. Tell you what, it's too many of these beers, isn't it? Too many of those. The Christmas sherry. Arguably, his best effort was his last, as Philip Billin, then Christie, forced him into excellent reaction saves. Diving around, Fabianski must have felt every one of his 39 years, although with a performance like that, he has plenty of life in him yet. Mikel Antonio's absence was marked by the West Ham fans chanting his name in the 9th minute. Bournemouth supporters responded by applauding for the full 60 seconds. The reality is Antonio and his number 9 shirt are almost certain not to be seen on the pitch for the rest of the season, given the injuries he sustained in that horrific car crash just over a week ago. That means there is even more focus on Jared Bowen to deliver those goals to get West Ham out of trouble. The England man has come a long way since scoring his first league goal for the local club, Hereford, as a 17-year-old in what is now the National League. Cool, crikey, that's, I forgot he played for them. 8 games at that level were enough to persuade Hull to sign Bowen, whose winner came against Wolves a week ago, which means he's now added 99 goals in the Championship and the Premier League to that initial effort against Alfreton. Playing centrally, it was no surprise, but Bowen should come closest to opening the scoring for the visitors after running on to Mohamed Kudus's through ball. With no immediate support to help out, Bowen should have showed real intelligence, allowing Ilya Zabania and Dean Huijsen to sprint past, creating space from where his curling shot flicked off the top of the crossbar. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's cross provided the opportunity to spin and unleash a shot. Kepa provided the equal of the former Chelsea keeper collecting at the second attempt. It was something of a surprise Bowen did not take the penalty when it eventually came West Ham's way after referee Chris Kavanagh was told to go to the screen to check Wan-Bissaka's cross flicking off Tyler Adams' hand by video assistant referee Michael Salisbury. Paqueta's finish was nerveless. The Brazilian thought he had won it. He was wrong. And I tell you what, I've had my say on this. I've had my say on this game. But what I want to do, there is top bins. Honestly, absolutely buzzing with that goal. I've watched. How many times have you watched that goal, guys?
Several
About
times.
10.
Yeah. It's just beautiful, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I tell you what, Liam, do you want to go first? But what did you make of this encounter?
Well, I thought it's David Beckham like. Gotta be
Say
honest.
that, yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. And when they brought Billy and Udo on, I said to Dad that this is game over now.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
normally they don't make an impact, but I give him his credit. That was
yeah,
a great goal.
Oh,
yeah. No, definitely.
mate, it was an unbelievable goal. And, you know, we were the dominant, we were the better side, would you say, Liam, all night?
First half, I thought they just edged it.
Do you
That's a fair
agree with
point.
that, Matt? Because some people have said that.
I would say, yeah. I would probably agree with
Beginning of
you.
the half, we started well.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's one of those games where, and fair play, taking nothing away from the West Ham keeper. He was definitely their man of the match, wasn't he,
Yeah.
for the amount of saves he made.
Oh, crikey, yeah.
So top performance from him. So take no credit away from him at all. But when you look at some of the chances, especially the Dongo chance at the far post there, should have really buried that, I think.
Yeah. If he hit that hard in low, that would have been in.
Yeah, you're probably right, Liam, to be fair, mate. Yeah, I would say, yeah, you're probably right. And just for me, it's one of those games, if we'd have lost that 1-0, even though, you can say what you want to say about the penalty and that, but if we'd have come away with that 1-0, really, we had enough chances to kill that game off at times, I thought.
Yeah.
And that was the most frustrating thing. Now, fair play to West Ham. That's a bigger point for West Ham than it is for us. Really, we should have come away with our second half performance. We should have come away and take Fabianski out of their goal. We would have come away with a win last night. But yeah, no, in terms of his free kick, yeah, absolutely David Beckham-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when he stepped up to take it, I thought,
At first,
really?
I thought it was Lewis Cook.
Yeah. And he stepped up, and I thought, I'm sat there thinking, I don't think it's going to be our night, is it? And take no credit, away from, I mean, great finish from the spot there, from the
I didn't
free
know he
kick.
had it in his locker. Honestly,
No.
I didn't.
I mean, I'm a fan of his. I like him. I
Yeah.
think sometimes he can come on and give you something different. Doesn't always make, like what Liam was saying, doesn't always make the impact that you desire. But sometimes he can come on and he offers you, like I've said before, offers you something different to Even Nielsen. And last night, obviously, yet again, and with Billing, I thought Billing looked pretty good when he came in. Iriola's substitutions work yet again. But it's just disappointing, I think, with the amount of chances we had that we didn't come away with the win. But it's still a long way to go, and it's a point. It's another point on the board. So yeah, overall disappointed. Not disappointed with the performance, but more disappointed that again we, there's chances there we probably should have converted, but absolute match performance from Fabianski. Can't take nothing away from it on that.
I honestly, and this is what I did say in that video that I did, create, because it was things that would come into my mind, and you know what I'm like, I'll get them straight out onto the internet, blab away, it is Christmas. You might see more videos because I want to just blab to you all. You got that to look forward to, guys. Got that to look forward to. Everybody's going, "Oh, bloody hell, no!" But no, to be honest, that was the best goalkeeping performance I've seen at Dean Court for several years.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, I don't know if I would say the same, but it was definitely up there with fair play to him. I mean, considering was it last season he was out of their team, wasn't he? And I think he was only playing the cup games for him last season, wasn't he? And he's must be knocking on a little bit now. He's got to be sort of
39.
39, isn't he? Yeah, I was going to say.
39, yeah, 39.
Put a performance out like that last night. You know, he played fantastic. But I mean, in terms of our side, again, you know, I mean, pick a man of the match from our side. I mean, you know, I thought there were some good performances in there again. I agreed with giving it to Christie. I thought again another performance.
Some of his corners was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And you know, his intensity in that midfield is you know, for me, is just why he's one of my favourite players. And you know, considering he came to the club as more of a forward player, you know, he's now obviously been, you know, developed into that sort of midfield player. And you know, when you got players like Adams fit, you know, it's such a tricky headache for the manager to have. You know, to you know, who does he pick? And but yeah, overall, I thought was very impressed with his performance last night, as well as the centre back pairing as well. I thought some of their last ditch tackles last night was superb, especially that Zabane one towards the end of the game. Where he just threw his whole body in. I mean, if he'd have timed that wrong, that'd have been another penalty. But superb defending as well from the two boys at the back yesterday as well.
For Howson coming at 19, doing fantastic, I think.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Yeah, he is. Absolutely, you're spot on. He's you know, we were talking about it last week on cherry picking the whole Senesi, Howson, and you know, when all three of them are fit, you know, who do you
Will
pick?
he get in?
Oh, that's it. I mean, what a headache to have as a manager to have three cornerbacks like that is, and obviously you've got people like James Hill that, you know, also pretty decent players, you know, that are at one point before the goal went in, he was ready to come on, James Hill, I think, wasn't he? And then he sat back down again. So, you know, it's a great headache for him to have. But overall, you know, disappointing. I think that we got the draw. I think we could have beaten them really on the night. But hey ho, a point's a point. You know, you can't argue with that really.
Well, exactly. And, you know, I think it keeps things ticking along. You know, really in this position where we are at the moment, it's a case of not getting beat. And that is going to extend. And of course, we're going to talk about the festive fixtures in a moment to this game this coming weekend. Let's bring those up. Let's have a little look at these festive fixtures. Because a couple of years ago, if you gave me those festive fixtures, I'd say, oh, that's a bit of a tough run. But you know what? I'm looking at those and I'm thinking, Everton, we should beat them at home. Okay, that's the last game of the four. Crystal Palace not being great, you know, got a very good result against Brighton. You know, nobody expected that. That was a bit of a, you know, spanner in the works. And Man United, we went up there last year, did so well. So the game I'm actually most worried, I don't know about you guys, but the game I'm most worried about is that Fulham game.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I think. Sorry, Liam, just very quickly, mate. From my perspective, I just think that I think this could be more difficult than it looks, you know. But Liam, you take it away, mate. You go first, buddy.
I don't know about United. They got a new manager now, so might be the management bounce.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he did have a good win against City, didn't he? So yeah, you've got something there. I think that would be a different game to last season. Not saying that we can't go up there and beat them, but I kind of with you on this one, Liam. It might be a case that, you know, the manager's now finding his feet, isn't he? And I could be with you on that one. The Palace game, I think, might be harder than we think. I think they've started to hit a bit of form. I mean, I would never have said they would have beaten Brighton by that margin the other day. And you know, fair play, they did. We know what Brighton are like. We've played them this season. They're a good side. Tactically, they're a good side. Their manager, you know, you can tell really does study the opposition before a game, and you know, so for them to lose, and it was at home, I think, wasn't it? They were at home, Brighton. So that's a big old win for Palace. Fulham, totally agree with Craig. That could be a tricky one. And Everton, I mean, the way I look at it, and obviously we're going to talk, briefly shortly about, stuff that, is more towards the end of the season. But if you look at these games here, I think if you get a run of 7 points there, I think that's not a bad Christmas period at all.
Well, exactly. That'll put us on 32 points.
Yeah.
And to be fair, when you think about it, I'll make a statement. 32 points will be enough to stay up this season.
Yeah.
I think it'll be enough to stay up. And that way we can focus then on how far can we push on. I can't see, I think we've got a very bad bottom, and this is no disrespect to Southampton, but I think we've got a very bad bottom this season in Southampton coming up. Dare I even say it? I tell you what, I might get flack for it. And hey, if I say it and they actually manage to avoid this, then fair play. I'll take what's coming my way from their fans. But I actually think Southampton might contend Derby's record all those years ago. I just don't think. It's horrible to say it. Rambo. Now he's out. I don't think this Lumley is a very good goalkeeper at all. That's in their goal. So of course I think they'll fill one of the spots. We've spoken about Wolves. I think they've got rid of Gary O'Neill. I think they'll still go down. I think they're weak.
I don't know much about this manager.
I think personally, I'm not even what. Well, actually, let's put it this way: why are we even talking about relegation? I mean, and who's down there? Who cares? I mean,
no, exactly.
We're not going to be in that fight, and let's put that one out there: we're not going to be in that fight.
It's amazing to say that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's teams that have been in decent positions come Christmas before, and have lost it after Christmas, and been in trouble, and struggled for the rest of the season, but. For us, I can't see that happening this season. I mean, from here, if you were to pick the points from these games here, I agree. Everton win. I would say that's a win. Palace, difficult game, but I think if you're going to get 7 points, that's your second win.
Yeah.
And I think we've got probably more chance of getting a draw at United.
I agree with that.
I think Fulham is. We may even beat United. I'm not ruling that out, but if you're doing a bit of maths here, and you think ideally 9 points would be amazing.
Yeah.
But 10 points. It's. But if we talk about it realistically, 7 points would be a very, very good Christmas. I think.
That'd be 34 if we win 3 games out of these 4. Wow.
Crazy.
What if we win all 4 of them? Well, I'll tell you what, it's a case of let's just go for it. At that point, it would be like, right, okay, we've got the whole of, until May anyway, late May, just go for, what we can get, see. And, if we finish in a European place, well, bloody hell, we'll talk about that in a moment as well. I'll tell you what, that's quite a good little carry on. Let's talk about it. Can we make Europe? Liam, do you want to go first?
We can, but it depends on injuries.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I think this is why these Christmas fixtures are so vital. I think if we're going to be serious contenders for Europe, I think, we all know whether you're fighting relegation or whether you're looking at promotion or whatever, the Christmas period is always, a lot of games coming thick and fast, and it's crucial for picking up points. I honestly think if we pick up 7 or more points, maybe even 6, I don't think we can be ignored.
No.
Of terms of being contenders. Am I saying that we can make it? It's a long old way to go. But if you get 7 seven points over the Christmas period with what we've already got on the board, I think there's a good chance, we can't not be looked at as potential contenders to.
It concerns me about both the left and the right back, though. If they both get injured, we ain't really got good replacements.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, you look at left back. Yeah, Kirkes be a massive loss, and obviously Smithy can play left back, but obviously he's not a natural left back. You got Max Aarons who can come in, go right back. He's also played at left back, I think, during pre-season at times, didn't he? So, but yeah, I get what you're saying there, Liam. I mean, injuries in those positions would definitely be a tricky one, and injuries anywhere across the pitch, really. I mean, obviously, we've lost Tavernier for a little bit. We've lost Senesi for what looks to be months, which is a blow. But like we've said, Howson's come in, done well. Sinistera, he's still injured and not too sure how long he's out for.
Close, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're definitely right. It depends on our injuries, how we get through these sort of 4 games. But yeah, I honestly think if we get 7 points, then I mean, I think we're all dreaming about it anyway. But I'm, as Craig knows, I'm quite quiet, and I will keep my cards close to my chest and think
You keep me grounded, don't you? I've already been going on about it, haven't I? Can you imagine next year? There's old Gary Lineker. He's sat in the studio. Welcome to Santiago Bernabeu. This game between Real Madrid and AFC Bournemouth.
Yeah, it's great to drink, but never say never. And obviously, if someone had said 15, 16 years ago, little old Bournemouth for one day win the Premier League, everybody would have laughed. So can Bournemouth play in Europe? Absolutely, why not? But I'm just keeping my feet on the ground.
Yeah, me
Let's
too.
just go with the ride. Let's go with the ride. Let's see how well we can do.
The ride.
I think, definitely, Liam. And I think, I reckon 7 points from this. And I reckon, we've got a good footing to go into the new year and really kick on from there. But can we? What do you reckon? If you had to say yes or no, Craig, now, what are you saying?
I've been saying 10th all along was where, but I am starting to believe. I'm starting to dream. I'm starting to think, right, okay. Forget that one on the furthest left. I know I said Santiago Bernabeu. I don't think we're going to be going there. I don't think it's going to be the Champions League. The Europa League would be unbelievable. I think the Europa Conference League. Let's say that. But can we do that? I think we can. I think we can. If you think about it, I think Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. I think those 3 are dead certs for the Champions League. Man City will probably get the Champions League, although they're in terrible form at the moment.
Yeah.
You've also got to take into account there is going to be teams that go on runs. I don't think. I think Man United could force their way back into the picture very, very quickly by going on a consistent run. If this Amorim gets it all together, all the ducks in a row, you can't rule out Brighton. Not in a million years. You can't rule out Aston Villa. The way I look at it, I think, Newcastle. There's
one.
There's that little league. So forget the top 4. Anything after that, Spurs, you got to throw into that league. It's got to be ourselves, Spurs, Newcastle, Manchester United. It's ridiculous even saying these teams with us. Brighton and Brentford, possibly. Forest. Could you even throw them into the mix? Because they've had a very, very good start, haven't they?
But you've got to. I mean, look where they've been for years and years. They've been in the wilderness of, League One for a lot of it. And I remember playing them on Tuesday nights down at Dean Court, with and players like Sam Vokes making their debut at 17. So it's you know, they've been on a similar journey to us in sort of the last sort of 25 years. So,
yeah,
you know, okay, they've got a massive heritage. They've won back-to-back European Cups. They had Cloughie and all that. Yes, but
decent stadium as
you know,
well. In City
yeah,
Ground.
and I mean, in terms of where they
Yeah.
are now, you know, and fair play. I mean, I thought they would struggle this season. Hands up, I'm absolutely wrong. But yeah, you got to throw them in there. You can't not. You're right by saying teams will go on a run after Christmas, and you know, let's hope we're one of them. And you know, you always do have teams as well that, you know, like Liam said, get injuries, things like that as well. So we've got to have a bit of luck on our side also.
Yeah.
Brighton, for example, was a big one last season where they come down here, didn't they? And we beat them fair and square 3-0. And I thought Brighton were fatigued because of the amount of football they'd been playing, but they had a lot of injuries as well. And that's why they're not in Europe this year, you know, because it looked, you know, they were right up there at the start of last season as well, but it just tailed off. It will all depend on teams going on that little bit of a run, getting that little bit of momentum going, and it is as easy to fall out of that as Newcastle, maybe you could say, have found recently. They've had a bit of a wobble, and they've dropped a bit. And everybody's asking, you know, about Eddie Howe's job. We know about Manchester United, what they've done. Aston Villa as well. They've had a little bit of a wobble, and there's question marks over them, even though they're having a fantastic European campaign. I think, you know, it's just that consistency, and I'm hoping because we haven't got European football ourselves this year, we're at the Carabao Cup at a very early stage. Of course, we've got the FA Cup to come, you know, which I'd quite like a cup run. I'd like a, you know, if we're not going to get Europe, you know, through the league, let's have a cup run. Let's get to, you know, to Wembley, you know,
why not?
decide, you know, because I think they're capable of doing it. They're capable of doing it. You know, they're capable of getting into that last four. Okay, it is luck of the draw, but I don't think we should fear anybody really
No.
at this moment in time. You know, I've got no worries about West Brom. You know, and I might be jumping ahead here. I've got no worries about West Brom. You know, the only sides that I'd probably say I'd be worried about is Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, the big one. Liverpool, the big one that we really don't want. Chelsea, yeah. But I think, you know, we had the better of Chelsea. Now everybody else is hitting the target.
I think Chelsea are a bit of a different animal now.
Yeah.
I think, you know, when you look at, you know, how things are going, I think Chelsea could be a very surprise package when the title.
They got the right manager now, so
yeah, you know,
good.
he's doing a great job there. It's going to be interesting, but I think in terms from Europe, I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? I think you'll find some support would like. Obviously, we all would love Europe. I mean, you know, that'd be mad. But I think you got to look at what comes with qualifying for Europe, and that's obviously something that you talk about later on. I'm sure the club's got Plan A and Plan B ready for next season anyway. But wouldn't it just be great to get to Wembley and maybe have a bit of silverware?
Oh yeah, that would be
amazing. Would I take an FA Cup win over qualifying for Europe?
Yes.
I think yes, I would.
Well, tell you what, if we won the FA Cup though, we go into Europe anyway.
Yeah, but doesn't that depend on where other people finish? I've got no idea.
Yeah, but this is the problem with it all nowadays. Is, you know, it's like
either way, you know, I've had my feet firmly on the ground for a while, but I'm now starting to believe it could be true. But I'm not going to get overexcited. But yeah, you can't. I think you know, good spell over Christmas, and you definitely can't rule us out of having a chance.
And he's going to try and keep me normal for the next 5 months. You know, keep me grounded, which is a hard bloody job, I can tell you that. Because I tell you what, I am dreaming of European football. But I tell you what, let's talk about Japanese football.
Oh, Japanese football indeed.
Yes, Japanese football. And this is about our friends at Kyoto Sanga. So 4 Kyoto Sanga players are training with AFC Bournemouth. Yutu Anazai and Rikoto Idya will train with the under-21s at the Cherries Academy, whilst Sunjun Yoon and Ko Sakai will be with the under-18s. Kyoto Sanga said on their website previously, President of Football Operations at AFC Bournemouth, Tiago Pinto, said the partnership was an exciting step for the club in expanding its global network. It'll also see both sides combine their scouting networks and share promotional material when appropriate. Tell you what, this is such a good move. This is clever again by the football club, because Japanese football is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And as we had a guest on, of course, a journalist who knows Japanese football inside out, and his insight was absolutely brilliant. And to have that link and that partnership with a club in Japan, an emerging market where kids are hungry to learn and get into the sport, again, such a good move. Every move that's being made by this football club at the moment is well planned.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like you say, that show we did with oh, forgive me, please tell me, what was his name? Lovely guy.
Dan.
Yes, Dan.
Yeah.
He, like you say, he gave us a really good insight into the club and Japanese football, and so yeah, it looks like it's a great partnership. And obviously, if this that was only announced in October, was it?
Yes,
early October, maybe end of September, and already there's players coming across here to train and use our facilities, and that's going to be a great experience for them, and they'll take that back with them to Japan, and obviously that would be a real I'll get on with tongue tied. I'm not even had a beer. No, but that experience back with them and kick on, and I'm sure at some point probably some of our youthies may go out there and experience not only that, you experience the culture of different countries as well, which is always a good thing for experience as well. So yeah, and obviously the promotional materials and other things, I mean, it's good to have a partnership with clubs like this. We did have a partnership with another club a few years back, didn't we? I forget the name of the club. I follow them on Facebook. But I don't think that one kicked off as well as this one seems to have kicked off. So yeah, it looks like it's going to benefit both parties, and what both clubs can learn off each other and share will only be good. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, check out the podcast with Dan, because that was part of a cherry picking, and I think there's one whole one on its own. So yeah, definitely check one of them out, because it was like you said, it was really insightful. So yeah,
you enjoying the vodka and Coke, Matt?
Vodka and Coke.
I've got the beer.
I'm enjoying the Diet Coke. Yeah.
Oh, wow, you can't put it in the can. Although they do fancy cans, don't they? But
yeah, no, it's Diet Coke for me, and I shouldn't even really be drinking that. But I just want
to treat Well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about something that we are a little bit worried about, and yes, hopefully, fingers crossed, we will tie him down. But of course, AFC Bournemouth want to tie down Andoni Iraola to a new contract, as Manchester City are big admirers. So Pep Guardiola is unlikely to be under much pressure despite Man City's poor form, but one Premier League club are keen to tie down their own coach just in case City come knocking. Guardiola has overseen the worst run in form since he arrived at the club. However, he is committed to fresh terms, stopping any immediate cause for panicking at Manchester City and other clubs. With City looking to get Hugo Viana in quickly, there is awareness at the club that a big summer lies ahead. However, Premier League club AFC Bournemouth are taking no risk, and according to TBR football sources, are looking to get manager Andoni Iraola secured. TBR football understands that Bournemouth wants to tie down Iraola to a long-term contract in the new year. The Spanish head coach arrived at the Vitality Stadium from Rayo Vallecano in 2023 and impressed hugely in his first season as the club secured a record point haul. Iraola penned a 12-month extension in the summer, taking him to 2026, but that still means he is just 18 months left on his current deal. Club Supremo Bill Foley firmly believes Iraola to be special talent and is more than willing to extend his stay on a long-term basis. Well, personally, this is a bit of a double-edged sword, this story for me. It's good that we've recognised this. It's not good that it's in the press because, Manchester City, I'm not surprised, Man City might be looking at him because, Pep will he, and hey, let's be honest, nothing ever lasts forever. We thought that Eddie was going to stay at this football club for years and years and years, and we're never going to leave and all that. It was always going to come to an end, and it will come to an end with Iraola. So, but we don't want it to come to an end for a long, 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 long period of time because what he's done. And I'm hoping that Iraola's looking at this squad and thinking, right, this is my squad, rather than starting afresh, despite, having the resources of Manchester City, or the one that I'm really worried about, or was really worried about, was Liverpool. I'm just so pleased that Arne Slot has done really well there, because that kind of stops them going for Iraola, because that wouldn't have surprised me one bit. But in my honest opinion, I think we need to tie him down to a big contract because he is so worth so much to us, and it means that it's big compensation when one of these big boys do come knocking, which they will. They will eventually. It is going to come to an end. Let's be honest. Brighton thought the same with De Zerbi. And of course he's left the club. I think Iraola is a different manager. I think Iraola will stand by it, and I think he loves the players that he is. Maybe De Zerbi didn't have that attachment to them, so we're lucky in that way. But let's be fair. If, say, for example, a club like Arsenal come knocking and said, look, we want Iraola, Arteta's left, that's very possible. Arteta might leave Arsenal at some point. They might turn around and say, look, you still not won us the league title. We're going to call it a day here. Look at how quickly Barcelona and Real Madrid get through managers. He already knows that league. They already know him, and he's beaten them on several occasions, those two teams. They might come in. So it is imperative, get him signed and, sorted for as long as possible, as quickly as possible. Because, he probably won't see out a long-term contract, a 5-year contract. But at the end of the day, it means if a Real Madrid come knocking, they're going to have to shell out a lot of money to actually get us to even consider.
I'm glad you mentioned the Spanish clubs, because it's not just going to be Premier League clubs that are monitoring his performance. It's going to be clubs all over the world, and he's going to be suited. I mean, he's very suited to Man City. I think his style of play, the high press, very suited. Arsenal, possibly. But there's loads of more. There's a lot more clubs across the world that will be monitoring. Especially in Europe, monitoring his his performance. But absolutely, the club need to tie him down. And I think he's happy here. I think he's, like you say, he's happy. I think with the squad of players he's got,
his family is settled, which is important.
Absolutely, Liam, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he's got a couple of young kids as well, hasn't he? So
Yeah.
that's all very important. So yeah, you're spot on with that. So I think for the foreseeable future, he's quite happy here. But yeah, when that does come in and your head gets turned, obviously we want to make sure that we are compensated for him. But obviously, at the moment,
I'm hoping that Foley is looking into a replacement.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but at the minute he's here. We're doing, we're probably performing. Well, I say probably are performing above expectation. In fairness, I don't think any of us would have said, come, mid-December we'll be sitting, sixth. I think you're going to need a flake for that.
I was going to say, cheers to a 10-year deal.
Yeah,
that's what we want.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not something any of us want to talk about. When you see things like that in the press, you're thinking no, but it's only natural with the way he's been performing and what he also does with players as well. And this is something I was going to touch on during when we look back over the year and fond memories of the year, but the way he develops the players as well. It's like in several games, probably more than a handful of games, he takes Smithy off and then Cookie's gone into right back, but Cookie don't look out of place in right back. It's good at right back. You think, geez, and then, he'll bring on someone like David Brooks, who's out on the right. He makes another substitution. Next thing you know, Brooks is playing through the middle. Dean Howson goes up front, which I think was his plan to bring on James Hill last night. Was James Hill would slot in at the back and they'd push Howson up front. The way he works with the players and the way that they can play and successfully playing, in their positions that are not really naturally known for is also a big coup for Areola as well, I think. And I think, which is what I was going to touch on as we look back over the year. But yeah, he's going to attract press. Let's just hope it's not for a very long time, because obviously we want to keep him for as long. Just like when Eddie was there, we always wanted to keep Eddie. And I think Areola, unlike previous managers like Parker, fair play, did the job, got us into the Premier League. I don't think we really had the same feelings for maybe Parker as we do Howe and Areola, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Gary O'Neill did a job, but really split the fan base. So since Eddie, I think really Areola's, a manager that really everybody has warmed to, which is also very important as well. And let's just long may it continue. But yeah, he's going to be turning heads all across Europe and the world with the way he's performing with Bournemouth.
Even to dickheads that, turned around and said about replacing him with Jesse Marsh at one point.
Well, yeah, Craig.
I'll hold my hands up. I'm owning it. It was a mistake.
Yeah, and I tell you what, the enough said about that, the better. So let's move on, because Jesse Marsh, Areola,
Yeah, I was completely wrong.
Jesse Marsh. Oh, we haven't won for 9 games. Oh, we need Jesse Marsh. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Let's get on with the next bit, which is, of course, Jebbison. And it looks like the first loan away will be chalked off as unsuccessful for Jebbison. The forward joined Championship side Watford on a season-long loan in August. However, it's fair to say this spell has been a massive disappointment for all parties so far. The Ontario-based that would be a long travel, wouldn't it, to Watford. The Ontario-born talisman had made just 2 league starts for the Hornets so far in the first 18 matches of the season. Recently, Jebbison had a 65-minute run out with Watford's under-21s. His manager, Tom Cleverley, stated that the loanee will get his chance in the first team again. The Hornets boss told the Watford Observer he knows he needs to learn and he works and shows the desire to improve. I've been really happy with his attitude recently and his chance will come. Whilst his former club, Sheffield United, may look back on this deal with some disappointment, it would be fair to say that both Watford and Bournemouth will be far more disappointed with Jebbison than the Blades. Having gained a small compensation package for him, United still find themselves in the promotion race, even without the 21-year-old. However, the Cherries will be left wondering if their investment was the right one, judging by his below-par stint at Watford so far. His loan manager cleverly did state that Jebbison's attitude was impressive, which could be a crumb of comfort, showing the striker has a desire to turn this disappointing loan spell around. And there we are. There is the Jebbison stats. So, my honest opinion on this, and it's going to be a straight one with regards to Watford. If he's not playing, let's get him back here and let's loan him out to somebody else. Because if Watford don't want to utilise him and don't want to play him, what is the point? But okay, it's a low risk investment from AFC Bournemouth because we signed him for quite a low fee from Sheffield United. However, there is concern. If he can't get in Watford's team, is he really going to be the right fit for this football club? He might show, hey, there's been players throughout the years that have shown real desire and hunger and things like that to learn, but they've never quite made it. Is he one of those? But then again, there's players that will turn around and will adapt to different managers.
Yeah.
My question, if I was Simon Francis to Tom Cleverley, I'd give him a call and I'd say, are you actually going to give him this chance? Are you going to give him this chance? And if I'm not happy with the response, I'd recall him and let him go on loan to another side. Possibly Sheffield United. Of course, they are top of the league. They might not need him. But another championship side, see how he fares there, because there's no point in him playing with the under 21s at Watford. I'm sorry. He might as well play with the under 21s here, if that's going to be where he's going to be based most this season. Take it away, guys.
It's a shame, really. I think.
It is, because the problem is he's obviously been signed, like you said, for a minimal fee. So investment wise, it's not a massive gamble, and but they've obviously seen something in the player that he's worth bringing in to try and develop. Now, obviously, there was talk when he did come in that obviously there was talk about Solanke going, and is he a future Solanke, and can he fill that void eventually? So he's been brought in, even though it was only, I think it was 1.25 million. I think they had to pay Sheffield United. So in terms of players for the Premier League, really. It's minimal.
Yeah.
Not all loan moves work, though. Not all players are suited under particular managers. You're spot on. Why would he? Why would we as a football club keep him there if he's not playing? It's something obviously that the AFC Bournemouth loan manager will have to obviously deal with. Which used to be Carl Fletcher, but I think he's head scout now, isn't he? I'm not too sure who the loan manager is now.
Yeah.
But
I'd get straight on the phone to him.
Well, this is, and there's obviously depends on what his loan contract's like, and this, that, and the other. There's a lot of things that they've got to obviously consider, but they're obviously going to be monitoring him. They're going to know he's not playing. It might be a case that there might be a clause in it where January they can recall him, which then it just is a no-brainer. You recall him and you try and source him a different loan move. He's got to be playing. I think the idea of bringing him in is not just to sit in our under 21s or, sit, just on the bench, or play the
idea of loaning is to get first team foot.
Absolutely, Liam, and that's what this guy needs. This guy needs that. He needs to go out and get that experience. And that was the whole idea of playing for Watford. I mean, if you look throughout his career, he hasn't played a mega amount of games. But obviously, I think he's the youngest Premier League goal scorer of all time, isn't he? Jebbison, I think. So he's this. I think there's some. When I saw him in pre-season, you can see there is something about him. I think he's just got to be developed, worked on. Have some trust put in him. To perform, and maybe he's not having that at Watford. But the good thing is when you read that and you hear that Tom Cleverley's saying that he's got a great attitude, that's a positive thing because he's not playing. He's played for the under-21s. Well, I'm not being funny. He was on the bench for Bournemouth and come on against Newcastle in the Premier League. And then 3 months later, he's playing for the under-21s at Watford. It's something there can't be working out. I don't think. And I think, I totally agree with you. It's probably best that he gets recalled and placed elsewhere. I mean, even if he was to go to League One, I know he probably wouldn't want to go to League One. But I mean, if he spent half a season in League One and come away scoring 12, 15 goals, look at the confidence that's going to give the kiddie.
I tell you what, stick him. How about this would
Scotland,
be
even Scotland Premier.
Yeah,
players like the Hibernian, players, clubs like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Would be good.
Yeah.
Wycombe Wanderers, a team that are overachieving, as you could say at the moment, and send him out on loan there. It would be a great experience for him to feel that promotion before he comes back and hopefully makes an impact with ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is possibly too harsh on the player, maybe. I mean, it's not worked out for him. It's evident it's not worked. I mean, to make 2 starts since when did he go? Late August, early September.
Yeah.
To make 2 starts is not obviously what he wants, not what the club wants. See? So, I don't. And you're right. Sometimes players that have this desire don't always make it, and this, that, and the other. But I don't know. There's something about him that I saw in pre-season that I kind of liked about him, and he was never brought to come straight into our first team.
No.
He was never going to be leading the line at Bournemouth. Week out. So it's about getting him the right club to develop. I think
it's not like the Bournemouth of years ago. Where you have a young, fresh-faced player that we can throw straight in to the side, because we are, on our bare bones. This Bournemouth side, we've got so much quality that these youngsters are going to have to go out on loan and learn their trade.
Yeah.
But we've also got to have that trust in the sides that we loan them out to. And, I think he's got a lot of potential. Hey, he might have that good attitude and might do everything that he's asked to do and might just not make it. There's been other players, there's been players that have fallen off cliffs. The likes of Dele Alli, for example. I was only reading about him earlier on today, and look at what a drop in a career that is. But I don't think this boy is going to be like that. I think what he needs to be nurtured properly, go to a good, decent club where he can probably experience, something good, positive. And that's why I would suggest, hey, if he goes to League One, send him to Wycombe, send him to Birmingham, send him to Wrexham, one of those teams up there. Don't send him to bloody Burton Albion or someone like that. I'm not saying that. Don't send him to Portsmouth or Cardiff or QPR or Oxford in the Championship. Send him somewhere where he's going to enjoy his football and maybe have that chance of doing something which he can then bring back with that confidence risen, rather than being deflated, which I think is probably what's happening at Watford. Recall him all day long for me. I don't like Watford anyway.
Nah.
Yeah, I can't stand them. I can't stand them. Why have we even tried to help them out? It's like odd, isn't it? It's like Leeds, isn't it? It's like, why are we bloody helping them? That's a story for another day. Let's help a club like Middlesbrough or someone like that. Got no real affiliation with. Right, moving swiftly on. I'm going to shut up now. We're going to have a little look back at 2024 because it has been a good year, and we have got a little something to actually play. So, in a moment, if you are watching, or I should say, watching are listening on Spotify, you can enjoy the very, very nice music. But if you are watching on YouTube, sit back, relax, and revel at some of these great memories. Take it away, Matt.
That was nice.
There we are. That was nice, actually. That was nice. I think, well, you had to finish off on Semenyo, didn't you? I absolutely love the man. He's legend. I'll leave the room to you guys, but who do you feel, or what do you feel was the best moment of 2024?
Beating Man City.
Oh gosh, yeah. Go on, Matt.
Massively. Yeah, no, that's got to be way up there. Obviously, we've had some great results this season. Obviously, in the first part of the 24-25 season, we've had some really good results, haven't we? When you look at the year as a whole, obviously go back to that Luton game where we looked dead and buried. What was it? 3-0.
3-0 down. I even turned around and I said, "Oh, we're going to win 4-3." I didn't even think it was going to happen. I was taking the piss, and then we actually went and did it. I should have had a bet on that. I'd probably be a very rich man now and live in a castle. But that for me, I completely agree. That is possibly one of the best turnovers.
It's been a great year for moments, isn't it? It's hard to really pick one because beating Man City, like Liam's just said, great result. We wanted that, for ever since we've been in the Premier League to beat them, haven't we? But then we had a good result.
We played them off the park, though.
And the football we played against them, you're absolutely spot on. Liam was superb, and then the result against Arsenal, and then but it's the collective as a whole is from everybody really, from the very top, the ownership through to the board, the management of the club, how the club's off the field still developing, and obviously they had the tour of America, LA back in the summer, so they're making great roads out in America. The support across the world is getting bigger. support locally is massive now to what it used to be. Like, I remember going to school years ago and on a Muffy Day with a Bournemouth shirt, and not only being the only one in the school apart from me and Chris with a Bournemouth shirt on, So the support has come, it's growing from year on year, year in year out.
Remember, you could go to away games just like that, and now you
yeah, Liam, you're right. It's but it's great to see from them. So credit's got to be given to the ownership and the way the club's being run. I think it's they're doing an excellent job as custodians of the club, and really looking at taking it forward. A lot of credit's got to be given to that man there, the gaffer.
Yes.
What he's doing with this squad, and and not only that, credit to his management team as well. Coops and Tommy Elflick, and all the rest of the coaching staff, and that it's been a great year all round, isn't it? To finish on our highest points tally, to sell a player that was so key in your squad for 65 million, and then replace him with a very good replacement who's coming on game by game. So credit to the recruitment side of the club. It's just been a great year, all round. And like I was touching on earlier, what Iriola's doing with the players as a squad and as individuals is really why he's being eyed up by other teams, and rightly so. And it's how he's developing the players to cope in other roles, and it's a joy to see. Like I said, Cookie playing at right back, for example. It's great to see that he's developing the squad as individuals, and you can see why we're in the position. We're sixth. It's December. We're sixth. Wow, isn't it? It's wow. It's
dreamland.
And we're talking Europe, and other clubs, in the league, like little old Bournemouth talking, European football. They shouldn't even be allowed in the Premier League and all that rubbish. Clubs are where they are on merit, on achievement, and this club is in a position now where it can kick on and push for European place. If like I say, we have a good Christmas, we get 7 to 9 points, something like that, 6, 7, 9 points. We're still in with a shout. So there's a load of moments over the whole year. It's hard to really pick one. It's a whole lot of moments across the year that's just made 2024 really a year to remember. Obviously it's different to we recently we did with Mark Pugh and Neil Meldrum. We looked at the champion. It's different to something like that. But as a calendar year, there's been a lot of special moments. And long may they continue.
Most definitely. I think for me, Man City, Arsenal, Spurs. That Luton game.
Old Trafford winning.
Exactly. The Everton turnaround. Being 2-0 down and being really shit, and then all of a sudden going into Hulk mode, and then just absolutely destroying them. All right, we should never have been 2-0 down in the first place against Everton. It was poor performance until that point, but
another one.
It was enjoyable, wasn't it? But it wasn't the greatest of performances. But until that point,
it's still a great memory to have, isn't it? 83, 84 minutes. You don't turn up, and then next thing you walk away with the win. It's just comeback kings, I suppose. Like we've done we did a special on comeback kings, didn't we? And we look back at all the comebacks, and they don't know when they're beaten, and that mentality is not only just from the player themselves, but is also installed in them from the manager and the coaching staff. So it's been a great year. Fingers crossed to a great football Christmas period to end the year off really strong and go into 2025. Still
stadium, hopefully.
Obviously that'll be coming around at some point, won't it, Liam? The stadium and that. There's a lot to look forward to in 2025 and beyond.
Well, I'm quite pleased I gave a short answer because I was going to turn around and say, what the time are you guys got to be at work in the morning? And I was going to say, do you mind if, going a little bit later? It's Christmas after all, but I don't think anybody wants me to ramble on for the next 12 hours,
Well, Craig, go on, give us a minute. 1 minute, go on.
1 minute, right, okay. Of course, the Luton win, an absolutely remarkable victory. That second half performance, absolutely bloody fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Anton Semenyo, his input has been, incredible this season, this calendar year. He's coming on leaps and bounds, and there was me going on about, I didn't think he was going to be consistent, or didn't see him being consistent when he was at Bristol City. The Man City win, Mark Travers, got to mention him, for his stops in that game. Unbelievable. We never thought we'd see it, but there was that feeling that day that something was a little bit different, and it was. The Arsenal win, everybody said it was because Saliba got sent off, and they were making it about that. We was bloody the better side, Arsenal fans, before he was on the pitch. So how could it be because of that? The Spurs win, excellent. A very, very good performance again by the side. And then you think of the wins, against likes of Ipswich, where we had another comeback, that Everton game, another comeback, the games that, sometimes you expect to win, we did so convincingly as well. So there's so many moments. I could bang on for hours and hours and hours and hours, but I think that you'd all get very bored very quickly, and everybody would have given up by about 2 hours in. Well, probably about half an hour, to be honest with me. There we are. But of course, from all of us at Up the Cherries in all departments, we do want to say a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all Bournemouth fans as well. But before we go, let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet, because
that's my fault. Sorry, Craig.
There we go.
That's my fault.
I tell you what. You always remind me. You haven't done Guess the Cherry.
Yeah.
And there's me.
And the one week I've got to remember, and I balls it all up. But hey,
no. Hey, we'll let you off, Matt. We'll let you off.
That's the faces. That's the faces, people. So go on then, take it away, Liam. Name one.
Adam Smith. No.
Oh, and I know which one you think Adam Smith is. And do you know what? I looked at that and thought someone's going to say Smithy, and they did. Go on then, Craig.
Max Aarons.
Max Aarons, well done. Yeah, both you got that one. Yeah, okay. Let's see.
Go on.
Ready?
Oh.
There we are. Marcus Tavernier. Yeah.
I thought that was Brooksy. Owen Bevan.
Do you know what? That last one, I would never have got that. I would never have got that. I was thinking Coops. I was just going.
Definitely not Coops.
Yeah, it's bloody hard. They've got Santa out of the beard on, haven't they? It's like that. So yeah, I'll take the 3. But yeah, like I say, from all of us at the Cherries and all departments, a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and let's go get 12 points over this period, shall we? Yeah, let's do it. Up
the Cherries.
Up the Cherries.
Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.